In 1959, deep in the frozen mountains of Soviet Russia, 9 young hikers set out into the Ural wilderness. Fit, experienced, unafraid. But something went terribly wrong. Their tent was found, shredded from the inside. Their bodies were scattered across the snow. Some were barefoot, others had crushed bones without any external wounds. Radiation clung to their clothing, and to this day, no one can explain what really happened on the slopes of Dead Mountain. This is the story of the Dyatlov Pass Incident, Russia's most chilling, unsolved mystery. They were young, they were strong, and for a brief moment, they were unstoppable. Igor Dyatlov, the leader, a 23-year-old engineering student with a passion for the outdoors. Alongside him, Zinaida Kolmogorova, always cheerful. Rustem Slobodin, a natural athlete. Yuri Doroshenko, fiery and brave. Lyudmila Dubinina, determined beyond her years. Alexander Kolevatov, the quiet thinker. Yuri Krivonishenko, the joker of the group. Nikolai Thibault-Brignol, the scientist. And Semyon Zolotaryov, the mysterious older man joining the trek. 9 souls, 9 dreams, united by a love of adventure. Their goal? To reach Otorten, a peak in the northern Urals. The expedition would cover hundreds of miles through frozen wilderness. They documented their journey meticulously, smiling photos, jokes around campfires, journal entries, full of excitement. But as they trekked deeper into the wild, the weather turned. Temperatures plummeted below -30°C. Winds howled like angry spirits across the tundra. Still, they pressed on. And on February 1st, 1959, they made one final camp on the slopes of Kolotsiakl, a mountain the local Mansi tribe called the Mountain of the Dead. The last photos recovered from their cameras showed them setting up camp, a bright, snow-blanketed slope. They pitched their tent at an odd angle, exposed to the elements, far from tree cover. No fire, just cold, howling emptiness. Around midnight, something happened. Something that made 9 experienced hikers slash their own tent from the inside and flee barefoot and barely clothed into the deadly cold. When rescuers found the camp 2 weeks later, they were stunned. The tent was half collapsed and ripped open from the inside. Inside, they found boots, clothes, food untouched. Tracks in the snow led away from the tent, barefoot tracks. Following the trail, they found the first 2 bodies, Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonishenko, near a tree. They were barefoot, bare-chested, their hands and faces burned black by the cold. Following the tracks deeper into the trees, rescuers found broken branches high above the snow, signs of a desperate struggle. Beneath the pine tree, a chilling scene, a makeshift fire, 2 frozen bodies. Their hands were bloody, their fingers raw, as if they had clawed frantically at the tree, trying to climb. But why? What were they running from? 3 more bodies were found halfway between the tent and the tree. Igor Dyatlov, Rustem Slobodin, Zinaida Kolmogorova. They were frozen mid-crawl, as if desperately trying to return to the safety of the tent. Rustem's skull was fractured, but not by a weapon. No external wound, just massive internal trauma, like a car crash without the car. For weeks, the remaining 4 hikers were missing. It wasn't until May, when the snow began to melt, that they were found, buried in a deep ravine under 4 meters of snow. But what rescuers discovered sent chills through their bones. Lyudmila Dubinina's ribs were shattered, her heart crushed. Nikolai Thibault-Brignol's skull was caved in. Semyon Zolotaryov had broken ribs and was missing his eyes. Even worse, Lyudmila was missing her tongue, yet there were no external wounds, no bruising on the skin. It was as if they had been crushed by an unimaginable force. The Soviet authorities quickly ruled the deaths as an unknown, compelling force. No answers, only whispers. Whispers of a secret military experiment gone wrong. Others blamed the indigenous Mansi people, but there were no signs of human conflict, no footprints, except those of the hikers themselves. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some believed the hikers witnessed something they were never meant to see. Military secrets, a missile test gone wrong, or something even stranger. Strange glowing orbs were reported in the sky by other expeditions nearby. Was it a weapon, an alien craft, or something older and hidden in the mountains? Over the decades, experts have tried to explain what happened that night. Some point to a rare natural phenomenon, a katabatic wind, a sudden violent gust of cold air that can crush tents and disorient hikers instantly. Others suggest an avalanche, forcing the group to flee. But the site showed no classic signs of an avalanche, no debris fields, no massive snow shifts. Low-frequency sound generated by the wind through the mountain passes, powerful enough to cause irrational panic, making experienced hikers tear out of their shelter into the deadly cold. In 2019, 60 years after the tragedy, Russia reopened the case. Their conclusion? An avalanche? Simple, yet many questions remain unanswered. Why were there no avalanche warning signs? Why would experienced hikers camp in such a risky spot? And how do you explain the crushing injuries without external trauma? Even today, families of the victims aren't satisfied. The more you dig, the stranger it gets. Traces of radiation were found on some of the victims' clothes. Documents mysteriously vanished from the original Soviet investigation, and multiple witnesses reported strange orange orbs fly in over the mountains. On the same night, the hikers died. Coincidence or cover-up? Even now, some believe the hikers encountered something unnatural that night. A secret Soviet weapon, a creature hidden deep in the frozen mountains, or a force of nature so rare, so powerful, that it left no survivors? Was it man, nature, or something else? 9 young adventurers ventured into the wild and never returned. They left behind no eyewitnesses, no final message, no clear answers. What really happened that night on Dead Mountain? Maybe it was a freak accident. Maybe it was something more sinister. Maybe it was something we weren't meant to understand, and maybe we will never know.